In your perfect world, if you could, manipulate the powers that be or change things so that campaign finance reform was possible, what would that look like? What would the limitations be?
Yeah.
Who would be allowed? What would the issues of transparency be like?
So the critical first step is to recognize what the problem with this system is. And the problem with this system is that we have a Congress who's dependent upon their funders, but the funders are not the people. So congressmen spend between 30 and 70% of their time raising money to get back to Congress or to get their party back into power. And as they do that, they develop a sixth sense, this constant awareness about how what they do might affect their ability to raise money. So they become dependent upon these funders, but the funders are the tiniest slice of the 1%. So 0.26% of Americans give more than $200 in a congressional election. 0.05 give the maximum amount in a congressional election. 0.01, the 1% of the 1% give more than $10,000 in an election cycle. So in that world, Congress is obsessed with how to keep its funders happy, but its funders represent a very small slice of America. Well, the solution then is to make it so that Congress, when it's dependent upon its funders, is dependent upon the people, meaning make the funders the people. So we've been talking about, voucher-like programs that would make it so that every voter would get a voucher, and the voucher, let's say a $50 voucher, they could give to a member of Congress or a candidate for Congress who agrees to fund his or her campaign only with vouchers and, let's say, contributions of up to $100 on top of that. That would be a system where $7 billion would be added into the political market. $50 a voter is $7 billion. That's 3 times the amount that was raised in 2010. But the money would be coming in small chunks, so that nobody could believe that it was, big money from the richest of Americans. It was driving policy. Policy would be driven by what voters wanted because the voters would be the funders.
And where would the money come from, I guess, on those vouchers? Would it be people saying, here's my $50?
No, so the idea is you rebate the first $50 of tax revenue that everybody gets, and that rebated money then is the source, the base, for funding this program where people have vouchers that they can then give to members to fund their campaigns.
That really does seem innovative in the sense that it brings back so much of that money and that power to people.
Yeah, which is what democracy is supposed to be.
One power, or one person, one vote.
Yeah.
We've gotten so far from that. I am astonished at the fact that such a small percentage of Americans has so much power. Who are these 1% of the 1%?
They're a mixed bunch. Certainly some of them are just wealthy people who have a vision of the public interest and they're trying to use their power to bring it about. But I think the point is not so much wealthy people versus people who are not wealthy. But the real problem comes from people who have access to an enormous amount of money, who are trying to use their access and influence to change government policy in a way that benefits them. When you've got people giving hundreds of millions of dollars in these super PAC campaigns to eliminate environmental protections, which would benefit their company because their company wouldn't have to pay for the environmental cleanups that are required because of the current regime of regulation. Those are people who are just leveraging their money to get a better return on their investment. And that dynamic has grown dramatically. And as it grows, it increasingly weakens people's sense that they have any connection to their democracy.